Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and drill in the holes now for my weapons. So I've had a couple of goes at this so far, I've been practicing, because I realised that I've rather foolishly gone and put that on, and because it's a moving part, it's going to be an absolute pain to get my electric drill in there to drill out the holes. So what I'm having to do is I'm having to think about ways that I can approach this a bit better. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to have to probably use my scalpel to kind of get the first hole on the go, which is going to be a bit of a pain because, as you can see, it's wobbling around and moving. So what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to pinch at it just to get my first initial hole done. So you can see I'm just wiggling the scalpel very gently there. And I'm just basically trying to get something together that'll make a hole for me to use as a guide. I tend to find that if I go straight in with a drill of any description, I actually it'll slip everywhere. It will just keep slipping as you go. So I tend to find that using a scalpel is my first kind of... Oh, that's the problem with doing this after I've actually put it in. Can you see I've given myself a little guide now on that side. Over here. Same again, I'm going to give myself a little bit of a guide to go on. I'm trying to make sure that they're at the same place as well, height wise, so that they're roughly in the same place. And you can see I'm just kind of... This is just to give myself a guide, somewhere to go on. Because if I start drilling straight, I guarantee that my drill will slip and it'll start moving around. Okay, now that I've got that done, I'm just going to use a manual drill to begin with. I might go on to my... Start moving. I might go on to my electric drill in a bit. But what I'm doing right now is I'm just trying... Oh, it's gone completely off focus there. I'm just trying to give myself a point to go off, really. See, the thing is, if I go at this with a proper drill to begin with, it will just be so powerful, and without somewhere to guide me, there we go, it'll just go all over the place. Now you may think that this hole looks a bit high up and I'd want to do it a bit further down, but I have actually been carefully playing around with positioning, and I actually think this is going to be the best position for it. And you'll see when I show you on the gun why I'm doing that, and hopefully it'll make sense to you. You see I'm getting my holes now developing. Hey, getting there. Ooh. Now let's see if I've made that hole enough now that I can get my electric drill on it and use it as a guide. I realised when I was doing this that maybe, aside from actually doing these holes long before I'd actually put it in here, it always looks a mess, and it's going to look god awful. This is why I don't like these powerful drills sometimes. I need a I need a hobby glue that I've got more control over, there's no doubt about that. I need to increase the speed on this now. Gosh, doesn't half one, it just keeps sliding. Don't know what's going on with this drill today, but instead of drilling inwards, it's just sliding. I wonder if I've... There we go. Right, yeah, don't worry about the fact that it looks ugly as hell. That will happen. There we go, getting there. Okay, the next little thing to do is actually trying, and this is the part where you can lose a magnet, unfortunately. But basically what I want to do is I want to place one of these magnets in each hole without losing it. You can see how fun that's going to be, but can you see? It's slightly, you know, it's like exactly the size I want it to be. So the plan is to very gently get those magnets in there now into that hole. See, I realised that actually this would have been best done with square magnets. Then I wouldn't have been creating a full hole, it would have been more like boring. Okay. Right, next little thing then. I've got to get my super glue, which I hate using, and I've got to get my magnets in those holes. I hate super glue, just something about super glue I absolutely despise with a passion, and I think it's the fact that every time you close it, every time I close my super glue, no matter how clean I make it, it seems to just naturally kind of try and escape afterwards. Absolutely hate the stuff. There we go. I've got some super glue popping out now. Okay, and I'm gonna try now get my super glue in those holes like that and like that. Okay, I've got my super glue, and now I've got the fun part of trying to get my... What is with super glue? Why does it... See this what annoys me. It's like, I just unscrewed this, and yet for some reason when I try and rescrew it, it's not going to happen. Right, okay. Now the fun part, I've got to get one of those little dinky little things into that hole. So what I've got here is I've got my drill bit again. As I said, the trick here is to get it into that hole without losing it. Because if I lose it, I'm just not getting it back again. I can tell you now, super glue just does not dry quick enough. Plastic glue wouldn't hold the metal. As you can see, what's happening is it's desperately trying to stay on this, and I'm just trying to kind of just... All I'm trying to do, as you can see, is just get it into the hole. And the trick is to get it into the hole, and then you got to get it into the hole and then try and drag. Yuck, I hate this part. See if I can hold it in place. Where's my tweezer? Right, I need to hold this thing here in a position while I do this, so that it can't keep moving, because it keeps moving and that's part of the problem. There we go, better. Come on, you know where you're supposed to be going, just go where I tell you to. No, I didn't say. See, you think, oh well, why don't you just use the tweezer? But I tell you right now, that won't work either, because it'll just keep moving along the tweezer too. What I'm trying to do is just let the glue take hold of the magnet. But they're such beautifully powerful magnets that it's very difficult to get it to do it. Now that I've got it in a hole, the next trick is to try and manoeuvre it so that it's flat. Which again is easier said than done. Because in order to keep it in there we go. Hey, done it. This is why I should have done this long. When I should have done this before I actually glued everything. Right, there we go. There we go. That's the trick. Can you see what I've done? I've managed to get it nice and flat now. Now the next one. Oh, this is not a lot of fun. Right. Just trying to manoeuvre this onto a tool that works. I don't know, file seems to be best off actually for doing this at the moment. And then 1, 2, 3, go! Oh, so close. Almost had it then. I'm worried the super glue's dried up too much in that hole and I'm going to have to apply more. Yeah. I'm hoping as well that once this works, obviously they're not going to pop out again, and that's one thing that I've found as well. I think next time I do a build, regardless of whether or not I'm planning on doing the build for a build, you know, like a how to build video, I'm just going to have to accept that some things I'm going to have to just do. I'm going to have to just stop and say, look, this part of the video I'm doing magnetizing, and then show how to do it, and then just move on. Come on, stay in place, stay in place, stay in place, stay in place. 1, 2, 3, go. No, moved. Right. All you need to do is go in. That's all you need to do. All you need to do is stick where I'm telling you to stick. It's not a debate. There we go. Right, got it. Yeah, can we see? I've started to flatten it off. Again, get that little non-magnetic thing, and then just use that to flatten it off. Oh, come on. And then hopefully they will not move. So hopefully they'll stay nice and solid on there now. What I'll do as well is I'll probably fill in any gaps with modelling putty. If there are any gaps around it, then I'll go in later with modelling putty just to fill it out. Right. Okay, now unfortunately I can't do anything else now until they've dried solid, because if I try and do anything with the other half, well, I can't do anything else on that side. So the next part is doing it on the guns, so the actual gun end. Now you'll see that what I did is I used the top part here of that nook to decide where I was putting my magnet, and the reason I did that is because you can see it's really easy for me to work out where to put the magnet on this side now. Now, the good thing is, I don't need to do much more. I don't need to really drill with this part to begin with. The first thing I can do is just cut off the very top of that, yeah? Okay, and then what I can do is I can get my magnet then and just see if it's flat to it. So I will try my best to get a good... Right, where's my magnet gone? I've dropped a magnet in. There it is. These are super powerful, by the way. I mean, even if you drop them on the floor, you can just go away and find it again very easily with a bit of metal or the other magnets. Right, so when I've kind of put that there, I feel like it's hard to show, but it's like not quite flat to the rest of the model, which is unfortunate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to drill down a bit. Okay, start off with my scalpel just to create a guide hole. Then increase the guide hole slightly with this. The thing about this side is this is nice and thick plastic, so with any luck it won't kind of have a hole behind it to cause me problems. Let's see if that fits a bit better now. So can you see there? It's gonna fit in a bit better and just have a bit of wiggle room. So what you got to remember when you look at the other side too is obviously with this it's going to be, oh, you can see it's slightly forward with a hole anyway. So really I could do with a bit of wiggle room on it. And the good thing is these magnets are so strong as well that even if they're not perfectly touching each other, they will still connect to each other. Oh. God, I hate super glue. Just like, it doesn't come and then it all comes at once. Come on, you got time. And then I don't know why I think that you doing it like this on the other one, it would have made it go in straighter. I would have been able to reach deep inside the gap without problem, and then I could have just tested if the bond would hold. I might just leave that like that for a minute and come back to it and then see if it held. Okay, so just as a kind of final thing, there we go. I've now got my guns all now. The only problem with magnetizing weapons is obviously useful if you're a gamer who wants to kind of constantly swap out weapons, but from a, gosh, this is why I should have probably used square magnets instead of circular ones. They can look a bit wonky. But other than that, it's managed to actually go on quite well. It's just really more about, you know, working out, you know, like lining them up. But they are actually straight. It's just obviously, as in on the model, it's just obviously they very easily twist, which is a bit annoying. But what I did do is, just as a kind of finishing off, I found that they were going on a bit odd, a bit offset, so I just shaved down the rest of that one, so I'd made those flat. And that's all I did as a kind of finishing thing, just to make sure that when they went in there, they were nice and flat. Because what I was finding is that they were kind of bumping up like that. So all I've done is I've finished off by making sure that the magnet is fully flat, and I've trimmed off the excess gun support, and there we go. That's it. That's how we got ourselves magnetised weapons.